Molweni. Welcome to another Mase Madwala video. As you can see by the title, we're doing things I have learned, lessons I have learned in my 20s, because ngoku I'm on the third floor. I'm on the third floor. Anyway, this is a video idea that my cousin gave me, Usipe. She was like, I would love to know that. And she's in her 20s. But this is not just for people in their 20s, obviously, because we can always learn from each other, older, younger, same age, and so forth. So I'm actually excited for this video. I wrote down 6 things. I thought I was gonna write 5, but I think I ended up writing 6. I couldn't get to 10. So if anything else comes up, I will do a part 2. Let me know if you want a part 2. But for now, let's do the 5/6 lessons I've learned in my 20s that I have. Okay, so I wrote these down, and you might hear dogs barking and stuff and people walking past my house. It's just too hard for me to close the door, guys. Let me see if it's really bad. I think it is bad. Okay, let me close the door. See if it makes a difference. Doesn't make a difference. I don't think so. But anyway, okay, so I tried touching on different things, different areas of life. I don't know if I touched everything, but not surprising, the first thing I wrote is about a man. Because in your 20s, there's this pressure to find a life partner, to settle down, to get married or engaged, or all of these other things. And I think I did put a lot of pressure on myself in my 20s to meet the love of my life. Okay, so that is the first thing that's here. Whew. Right, so what do we have? I'm gonna read and then extend if I need to. Why am I nervous? Okay, so lessons I've learned in my 20s. Number 1, your man will find you when God wants him to. Okay, I think patience is something I struggle with in general, because work-wise, you need to be a go-getter, you need to be proactive in so many things. And when it comes to meeting your life partner, as much as everything else is in God's hand, but this one, we somehow feel like we have authority to do it ourselves. Like, we feel like if we dress a certain way, if we go out, if we make ourselves available, put ourselves out there, then we'll meet the right person. And that is not the case. There's nothing you can do to manipulate God or to bring you your life partner when you want it. God will bring him to you or her to you when he wants to do it. So I think that was such a big lesson for me. And it just came now, probably at 29. That's when I was just like, actually, relax. You've done all of these things. It's not working. So it's clearly not by your will, or by your intelligence, or by your experience, or by your beauty. It has nothing to do with me, which is annoying, but it really has nothing to do with me. So there's nothing you can do to accelerate this process. Places, there's if I go to Chisanyamas, go to different churches, no. Looks, state of being, such as financial, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Your person will find you, whether you're rich, you're poor, middle class, you're trying. It has really no reason for God not to give you your partner because you're not financially stable. We see a lot of people getting married and they're not financially stable and have successful marriages because their provision doesn't come from them. Their provision comes from God. So it has nothing to do with how financially ready you are. Okay, it has nothing to do with your looks, place where you're at. He will find you at the petrol station if he has to, at the supermarket, or even in your house, in your bed, sleeping. When God's timing is right, it is going to happen when God wants it to happen. So there's nothing for me to do to get him to to get him to me at my time. God will make it happen at the proper time. So putting yourself out there won't get him to you soon. Dressing a certain way won't change anything. When God has him and you ready, it will happen. It's not because you're not ready. There's no level of self-awareness or self-development stage you need to hit before he sends you a spouse. So this part, I've always just thought like, okay, now I'm ready, or like now I feel ready. And that's normally because like you go to seminars or you work on yourself, your confidence, your maturity level, your character, and all these things. And I thought I got into a place where I'm just like, okay, Lord, now like I feel like I've done all the self-development work. So someone, that's the only thing that's missing. But it's really not about hitting a certain level of maturity or confidence or security even. It has nothing to do with that, because you're still going to you're still going to self-develop when you are in marriage. So it's not like, oh, I need to get to this point and then God is going to give me a husband. No, you still have to work on yourself even when you are married. So that being your goal, like, and also we're making God seem like not a gracious God, like a works God. If you do these works, then I will bless you with a husband. He's not cruel like that. Like, only if you, then I will. You know, God is not like that. God is about love and grace, and he's our Father. So he wants the best for us at the time that he knows is the best time for us. So yeah, I think that was another thing for me, where I was just like, I'm going to church, I'm serving, like, you know, when they like put God first, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. I was like, I'm doing all of that. Like, why isn't this happening? It's not about works. It's really not about works. Yeah. What else did I write? Dee, 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 dee. You will continue to work on yourself even when you have a relationship, so it's not about that. Next one, you can learn as many skills or marriage lessons as you want, but some things you learn through going through it. So this means like you can learn about patience, you can learn about sharing, you can learn about like stuff that you think you will need in marriage, but there's certain things that you won't know until you know them, like you go through it. So you can prepare yourself as much as you can, but enough preparation still does not mean it's the right time. So you're prepared, but that doesn't mean after preparation the next step is to get your goal. You can be prepared and stay there. Do you understand? I hope that makes sense. So I think I rushed God a lot in this regard. I'm like, you're taking me through preparation stages. I can see it, I can feel it, I'm experiencing it. And I'm like, okay, I'm learning these lessons about friendship and how to be this type of person, blah, 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 through family and whatnot. And I'm like, I'm ready for a spouse. The finished work of preparation does not guarantee you getting the goal. It doesn't. So don't look at yourself and be like, oh, I'm being prepared for marriage, wada, wada, wada. And when it doesn't happen, be disappointed at God. Also, just remembering the Bible says we are created by him for his pleasure. So him preparing us is for his pleasure. Unfortunately, not for ourselves and not for our spouses. And that should be enough. Yabo? Okay, I think I'm done talking about a man. That is some lessons with the relationship for marriage, a spouse, that I have learned. So relax. Basically, relax. Paula, relax. If you don't have a boyfriend, if you don't have a girlfriend, if you're not engaged, if you are not even crushing on anyone, if no potentials are in sight, that's okay. Relax. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. And let God do his thing. Okay? All right. Now, when it comes to friendships, friendships are God-driven. Do your friends draw you closer to God or away from God? For me, that is the first standard. Friendships draw me near to God and not away from him. Anything that draws me away from God is a no-no. So friendships have to be intentional, okay? So that is the first important standard. Godly friendships don't have to be for short periods of time. They can be for a lifetime. And that's what I think I've said before on the channel, because that's what I prayed for, and God has been faithful, okay? Pray for them, pray for your friends, and ask for wisdom in how to say things and how to approach things. Yesterday, I was with a friend of mine, and nothing within that I struggle with certain conversations. There's conversations I'm confident in, because I've been through it, or God has given me wisdom in that. But there's conversations I have no idea how to deal with. Like, no, like I do not know how to deal with grief, because I have not had a lot of grief in my life. Does that make sense? So when a friend is going through grief, I need all the wisdom you can get, because I could say something hurtful, something insensitive, something that I can't relate to them in that situation, and it causes confusion or like disappointment. It could get messy. So whenever a friend is going through grief, I need all the wisdom in the world. Like, I don't think you'll understand it, because my heart breaks, but at the same time I don't relate. So I always just need wisdom in what I say and how I act, and how I can bring God as this should not shake your faith, because God is still God, but at the same time to not be insensitive, and also just to listen and not give advice. Like, I need wisdom in a lot of areas, but that one specifically, grief, I need wisdom, definitely. So even with my friendships, I've realized that there's certain things that I definitely need God to lead me in, and then there's certain things I can take the lead and ask God to guide me while I take the step of faith. So yeah, so please pray for your friends and ask God to give you wisdom, okay? Godly friendships require effort and emotional intelligence. I don't know how else to explain that one. It seems clear. You will be upset and you will be hurt, disappointed by your friends. Unfortunately, they are not God. They are not God, so they're imperfect beings, and you are an imperfect being. So please, just because they are godly people and love the Lord, doesn't mean they can't hurt you. So please be aware of that. So, and give them grace, because God has given you grace so many times. Give them grace as well. So take your time when you need to. If you need a break from a friend, take your time. Doesn't mean they're not a godly friend. Doesn't mean that they're toxic. It means you're allowed to take breaks within friendship to recuperate, to pray, or to distance yourself. If you're hurt and you don't know how to address a conversation, to take some time off. That is okay. That is allowed. All right. Don't feel guilty and bad about that. You're not ghosting them. You just need time, and that takes maturity from their side and your side to know that people need space sometimes, and that has no correlation to the level of your friendship. How deep or not so deep is your friendship? It has nothing to do with that. You just need your time. Some conversations are between you and God, and personal and private. So some conversations, even your best friend at times will not understand. This one I've learned as well, maybe in the past 2-3 years, where I'm like so sure about something God is saying to me, and I share it with someone and they're not getting it, like at all. They don't get it whatsoever. Or I believe in a certain way of living lifestyle in terms of like things like debt. I don't like debt, and there's some people who don't mind debt as long as they are responsible with their debt. So you need to also understand those dynamics within your friendships, that babes, some things that you do are private and you should keep them to yourself. You can always share, but you can't force anyone to live a certain life other than yours. And your way of life does not necessarily mean it's the best way of life. Okay, so some things are private and are for you to live a certain lifestyle. or for you to act a certain way, or a word from God for you that your friends won't even get. Like they won't get it. So that is okay. That is normal. Don't share everything. I share most things with my friends because all my friends I'm close with. But I've found out in the past maybe 3-4 years, there's some things I share that they don't understand because that's what God is telling me privately, personally, and it should have stayed private and personal. Um, yeah, I think that's it on friendships. Okay. So number 3, family. Okay. God is intentional. Family is intentional from God. He didn't wing it. He didn't just wake up and say, I don't care which family you're born from. That doesn't work. Unfortunately, God is not a winged God. He's intentional about everything, let alone his creation, that he has a plan and a purpose for. Plan to prosper, not to harm. So if God has a plan for your life, do you not think he destined you to be born in that family that you're born in? And I feel like the devil has taken away family structure, created hurt, created disappointment, created anything, everything to separate families from each other, because there's such a blessing within a united family. What's the scripture? Me and my house will serve the Lord. There's power in that. There's so much power in that. Can you tell I'm still not used to living at home? And my house is a mission house because my parents are pastors. Today's Sunday. Everyone from church comes back to my house. So it's full. They're outside my room. Okay, that's better. What was I saying? God is intentional about family. He did not make a mistake that you're born in your family. Don't allow the devil to take away that blessing of unity and that structure. Your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your cousins, they are those people for you for a reason. Like you could have been born in any family, but God chose that one. Find out why. Aren't you curious? I'm curious. So family is intentional from God. So do as much as you can to find that purpose of that family, but also to bring unity, forgiveness, and a lot of things are hard when it comes to family. But I think there's such a breakthrough and a family blessing and a family favor that the devil just wants to take away from us. And I refuse. Honestly, my 20s, I refused, with arguments with my mom or differences with my dad or my emotions running wild or frustration with my siblings. I refuse to let those things fester because I know that the devil works hard to break families. So I try to forgive and I ask for forgiveness a lot. Say thank you, be grateful, show appreciation, and set boundaries at the same time. So when it comes to family, that can be challenging, but be intentional about fixing things. Whatever it is, fix it. Do everything that you can on your side to fix it, and pray and pray and pray for your family. Okay. I wrote here, pray about everything. So the smallest to the biggest that has to do with your family, pray about everything. And how you pray for your family now also determines your family when you are with your person and your spouse. And if you are married, pray more about your family because the devil's trying to break marriages, sibling relationships. He's there, he's wearing a bent and a tight, trying to break families. Okay, are we at the last one now? I don't know which number this is now. 1, 2, 3 is family. 4, we're gonna talk about money and provision. Okay, you are not in control of your own provision. This is what has given me favor. I am not delulu to think that it's by my education, my hard work, or my experience that I earn a salary. It's nothing to do with me. I am a normal human being that does my best. And there's so many people in the world that do their best and still aren't blessed as I am. So do not be delulu to think that your provision comes from you. Your provision comes from God and God's love and God's grace and God's favor upon your life. Okay. Everything was made by God for him. So even the money that you do have is God's. Then the money you work hard for is from God for God. He chooses to share it with you. This has given me so much peace and comfort. But I also don't overspend at the same time. So it's not like I used to in my 20s, early 20s, I used to hoard money. So I used to, like, when I earn a salary, let's say I earn 5,000, I would literally save 4,000 and try and live on the 1,000. How crazy is that? Because I had a fear of lack. I had a fear of being poor. I had a fear of what if I lost my job. Do you understand? I had a fear of lack. But when I realized that my provision comes from God, and even with those savings that I have, I could lose them, the bank could, whatever, things could happen and I would lose them, then what? Would that change who God is? Would that add anything to my life? Would that take away anything to who God is in my life? So I stopped hoarding because my provision comes from God and he will sustain me. But at the same time, I don't overspend because I'm also a good steward of what God has given me. I think my hoarding nature helped me to be a good steward of what I have. But and it's niche anymore, guys. I used to, like, when I started working, I wouldn't even do my hair. I wouldn't even do my hair. I wouldn't even do my nails. I was the opposite of when people start working and they splurge out. I did the opposite because I had such a fear of not having. I had a fear of, like, what if things don't go right? What if this? What if that? So don't be like me. Save. I'll get to that. I'll get to that point. Okay. But my point was, when you understand that your provision comes from God, it gives you peace and it gives you comfort. I no longer hold on to money, but also don't overspend. It's helped me not to idolize money. That's what I used to do when I was hoarding money. I used to idolize it, that without it, my life falls apart. And I didn't give God the reverence that he deserved, but I gave money the reverence that it deserved. I feared not having money more than I feared not having God in my life. What a bar. But because it's true. And also knowing that, like, if God never provided, would that change him being God? No. So guys, money comes, money goes, but God is still God. Okay. Now, practical things that I did in my 20s that I think are helpful. With what I had, I needed to be a good steward of it with wisdom and God's guidance. So pay your tithe. I'm not even going to argue with you about your tithes. This money is God's money in the first place. And God has borrowed you 10K and is asking you, listen, you know what, you can keep the 9. Give me 10 back. And you're still fighting. Why? I think there was someone who made this example. This guy has a wife and this guy has to work out of town. And tells Ichomiake, the friend, listen, I'm gonna find a job out of town. My wife doesn't have a bank account. I will send the money to your bank account, okay? The money I send you to your bank account, I just need you to give her 10% of it. You can keep the rest. Just give her 10% of it. And basically, that's what God has done. God has sent us Jesus, and Jesus died for our sin and asked us just to give 10% back to him. 10% back to his family, which is his church, and we're not doing it. He gives you, God gives you 100% and says, give 10% to my house and you keep the rest. Like that example, husband gives a friend money, says, here is 10K, just give my wife 1,000. And you as a friend are refusing to do that. You think it's your money. You think because you answer the friend's calls, it's your money. You think just because you go check on the wife, it's your money. No, it's not. So that is what a tithe is. You're literally giving 10% of what God has given you back to him, to his house, to his family, to his people. That's the only way I can explain a tithe. So please go tithe. I don't even debate that one. Do your tithe? That's number one. Then your responsibilities, utilities, whatever, food, petrol, whatever it is. Don't choose growth over this. Don't choose clothes over this. Don't choose hair, weaves, braids, beauty over this. Definitely tithe, responsibility. Have a savings account. Have a savings account, okay? Do not have a savings account that just makes your money sit there. Have a savings account that earns interest. Time bank interest is at 11% per year. So if you put in 1,000, you'll get an plus 11% in December. African Bank is at 10% right now. Whatever you put in annually, you'll get in 10%. So don't put your money under the mattress. I support stokvels, imegalelo, societies, but they don't give you interest. If you take that money and you're disciplined enough to pay a stokvel every month, take that money, give it to the bank, and it will gain interest. So the money you're gonna save in a stokvel, you gain that money and more. If I had learned this sooner, early 20s, I would have saved so much. Like the little that I eat, 100 Rand a month, I would put it there. 100 Rand a month. When I start working, I put more in there. Like, guys, have a savings account that has interest, a fixed savings account with interest. Time Bank is high now, and then African Bank is after, and then I don't know what's the third one, but definitely look them up. You can, please, okay? Money sitting under your mattress or money in a savings account that does not do anything for you is money wasted. It's not even money wasted, it's money lost, because the value of the rand depreciates. So by the time you put it there, when it doesn't earn, it doesn't grow, it doesn't do anything. By the time you take it out, imali Ghani is higher than when you put it in. So your money has actually decreased value because now you're spending more for the exact same amount of money you saved up. Does that make sense? Money not moving money. Money stored is depreciating. So don't store money. Invest money. Please. I hope someone's listening. I really hope so. Have a just in case. Okay, so I'll explain the 50 30 20 rule. Is it that? 50 30 20 10 rule. I'm not sure. 50 20. No, it is 50 30 20 rule. So 50% of your salary goes to all your needs. So if you're a student, books, food, transport, bus, car, petrol, whatever, all your needs, phone, if you're paying for your airtime, all your needs need to be at 50% of your budget, whatever money you have. 50% goes to all your needs, okay? 30% it should go to your savings, okay? 30% should go into your savings. If you just started working, 30%, just forget about the 30. Just forget, né? And then 20% you can spend. In my head, I spend 10%, the other 10 I tithe. Some people from their 50, they take out their 10% and they tithe that. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But 50, 30, 20 rule, okay? That's standard. That's just standard. So 20% you put in a fixed savings account that grows. Now, when I say have a just in case, if you lost your job, okay, you need to at least survive for the next 6 months to a year, paying rent, paying for your car, paying for your bus, going like trying to survive. And your survival is what? The 50% that you always spend a month. So your savings, which is your 30, you need to save those savings up to 5 months, 6 months of the 50. Okay, so let me try and explain it again. So you spend 50% of your salary on your utilities, your needs, basically, not your wants, your needs. Okay, so let's say that is 5,000, right? 5,000, and you are saving 3,000 a month. Okay, so if you lost your job, you'd still need to pay all those things that cost you 5,000. So you need to make sure that the 3,000 that you're saving can last you 6 months of this. Okay, so you need to then do 5,000 times 6. What is that? Whatever that is, and then make sure your savings reach that amount. So 5,000 of your needs times 6, which is 6 months. While you look for a job, if you lost your job, you will be able to survive because you have that 5 months, that 5,000 times 6. All your needs are there, right? So you save up your 30% of your savings, which is your 3,000 in this instance every month, to reach that goal. Does that make sense? That is the first step that you do. And then you take that money, you put it in a fixed what? Savings account, so it grows interest. And then you continue with your life and you still save the 30%. If you want to buy a car, you save it for a car. If you want to buy a house, you buy a house. If you want to extend your family home, do you understand? Now you have another goal. But a just in case is if everything fell apart and you didn't have a job, you should be able to go to your just in case, which is your savings for 6 months, and you should be able to survive and still pay your bills, and all your needs will be met while you're looking for a job. Some people do 3 months of a just in case, some people do 6 months of a just in case, some people do a year of a just in case because you don't know how long you might be out of work. So I think that's practicing wisdom. And that is the first thing I do whenever I get a job. Make sure my just in case is still good. If my life changes, something new gets added, that's a bill, I make sure my just in case can cover that bill if ever I were to not have a job. And once I started doing that, I stopped having a fear of not having, because there is something in my bank account if things didn't go right. And I think that's being a good steward of what God has given you and not living out of fear and anxiety. Okay, I hope that made sense. I explained this to my brother who's 15, by the way, and he got it. So I hope we get it. All right. Last but not least, your spiritual life. Okay. Spiritually, nothing will move you if you are rooted in the Word of God. When I say put God first, your first love, and everything else shall be established. Well, that's what the Bible says. It took me a while to not let outside noise affect my relationship with God. Outside noise, as in situations, as in emotions, as in circumstances, as in people. Nothing outside of you and God should affect your relationship with God. Isn't that crazy? It's simple, but it's also crazy because we somehow validate our relationship with God based on how things are going in our lives. What does that have to do with God? If you were created to solely praise and worship God, you were created for the purpose of bringing pleasure to Him. Why do you care about the other pleasures of the world? Why do you focus? I get that we live on earth, but when you are focused on pleasing the one who created you, when your focus is to please him and spend time with him, get to know him, nothing else moves or shakes your faith. You can go anywhere, you can work anywhere, your relationships can fall apart, but when you are rooted in the word of God and God is your priority and God is actually God of your life, and it's not just religion, it's not just going to church, it's not based on your needs, but it's based on just serving him, nothing moves you, does it? Nothing moves you, honestly. Yeah, no, that is something I wish I'd learned sooner. And you learn that like putting God first is important, your quiet time is important. I feel like if there was a way of magnifying that message, Lord, give me wisdom to do that. It's exactly the same message, but when you actually put it into practice and you're not affected by whether you have a job, whether you don't have a job, it's still the same. Whether you're fighting with your family, it's still the same. Whether you have money, whether you don't, it's still the same. Whether you feel beautiful or you don't, it's still the same. You still keep God as number one, we would be far. We would be far as a people. So please do that. The sooner you do that, the better. Your emotions are still gonna be there, but nothing will destroy you, even when pressed down. If you put God first in everything you do. Are rooted by the streams of living waters, whose seasons changes, they do not wither away. I wrote a verse, James 1. Make time, create time. Make time, create time for God. Okay. You were created to glorify him. He should be your first priority, not your job, not your spouse, and not your kids. There's people who make their kids their God. You are responsible for those individuals, but they are not your God. Your life should not revolve around your kids. Your life should revolve around God. Your kids are going to leave you. Your kids themselves are a blessing from God. You're busy idolizing and worshiping and putting your kids before God, but God is the one who gave you your kids in the first place. It's like Hannah or Abraham idolizing Isaac and the kid, and not God that gave them their child in the first place. So your kid should not come before God, guys. Ouch. Yeah, I'm thinking of Abraham and Isaac. When God asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, he did it. So no excuses, God first. Everything else will fall into place after that. The Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and he shall establish your steps. No, it even says in John 15. Remain, John 14, I think. Remain in me and I shall remain in you. So you need to be there. Another thing is when it comes to work, okay, that's spiritual, right? Let's get to work. If God has qualified you for that position, nobody can take it away from you. Don't let them take it away from you. If God says you are worthy of this position, you need to walk in that confidence. When I started working, I had such bad imposter syndrome. Like, I don't belong here. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But if God says this, if God gives you a job or a position, that means God finds you worthy of it, and God, the things you don't know, will teach you those things. Do not cancel yourself out of the equation, because you don't feel worthy of a position that God has designed and made for you. Do not do that. Okay. If you're not confident in yourself, then trust God within you. Know that you cannot do work career without God's blessing and guidance. Every day, as you deal with the real life situations, real people that are different from you, ask for wisdom and joy where you work. Your mental health is more important than a paycheck at the same time. Okay, before the mental health part, at work you work with different people with different faiths and different beliefs and different rituals and cultures and languages. So you need wisdom to navigate that. It's even work is even worse than family, because at least family, you were born in the same structure. People choose to go differently. At work, y'all are from different backgrounds, different families, and you're trying to work together. So you need wisdom in that situation at all times. You cannot do it by yourself, unfortunately. I don't care even if you have the best of bosses, you still can't do work life by yourself. You need God to navigate difficult conversations when you want to raise, or just difficult conversations on the treatment, whether you're happy or not. You need wisdom and you need God to guide you in that season. Now, when it comes to your mental health, it's very important that I know this is gonna sound like, oh, maybe I haven't experienced this, but I have. Your mental health is more important than a paycheck. Let me give you a quick testimony. There's a job that I worked at, and I worked there for a while, but it was very toxic. The job, my manager, everything was just really, really bad. And that's when I decided to pack my bags and go to Johannesburg. I did not have a new job. I lived in Cape Town. I did not have a new job. I packed up my bags and I said, enough is enough. I am dying mentally. And I left. By God's grace, they didn't fire me after I left. I could work remotely. But I had made that decision. If they're saying, if you're leaving, you can't work for us, I was okay with that. But I needed just to not think of that paycheck and think mentally, I need to be out of the state. I need to be out of Cape Town. This is also the time I was in a cult, and the cult was in Cape Town. So mentally, I needed to be away from the city. And I chose my mental health and my well-being over a check, over a salary. And I will continue to do that. I will continue to do that, because nobody at the funeral says, oh, I wish he had worked more. People always think things like, your kids always say, I wish we'd spend more time with them. People always want more time with the dead than less time. And at work, you lose time. Do you understand that at work, you lose 8 hours? You're not praising God for 8 hours, who created you to praise him. You're not spending that time with your family. You're not at church. You're not even doing things you enjoy, like massages and like you are actually losing time because you're making money for someone else. Or if you work for yourself, you're literally making money for yourself. But yeah, your mental is more important than that. Yeah, that is it. That is all I wrote. I do not know how many I actually wrote down. I'm trying to think if there's any area that I forgot. I think I spoke about everything. The light is gone now, so I don't know how we are looking, to be honest. But let me know, what are your thoughts on these things that I have learned in my 20s, what you learned from them, what you have learned. All my sisters in their 30s also, I need some advice going into, the third floor, what to look out for. So please engage in the comment section. I would really, really appreciate that. It's been a while since I did like a word to put in the comments. So let's do... let's do hashtag lessons in your 20s. Let's just hashtag that, lessons in your 20s, and then write your favorite lesson that I spoke about and your advice to me for my 30s. That is the end of this video. I am so sorry it's this long. I did not think it was gonna be this long, but I tend to just talk a lot. So I hope you enjoyed it. Other than that, okay, if you got to the end of this video, please do like and subscribe, because clearly Ndasa, you did like the content. So do like and subscribe to the channel and hashtag lessons in my 20s. Other than that, okay, Zeniti, abendibuza nam bendilaba. Bye.